Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Broken Rune. What episode is this? 6?
This is number 6.
Number 6. Wow. Okay, so obviously you can see what's on my screen. We've got Covert Instruments up today. I want to start by saying all tools that we review in this episode, we've paid for or acquired through trades. We've got ourselves without the company sending us anything for free. So we're coming at it from a completely independent, neutral standpoint. On that note, I do want to say that there are a lot of good people who work with and for Covert Instruments in the community that I like, that I respect, and I'm not going to make them happy with a few things that I say, but I feel comfortable enough to say them in this episode. And I would never betray our audience by lying to them to keep someone happy. So everything I say in this episode is my opinion. Everything Broke, obviously he's going to say his own opinion. When does he not say his opinion?
Right? It comes out. When it's coming out, it just comes out.
But yeah, so everything I say is my own opinion, and it is just an opinion. If you respect me, you respect my picking style, you see my experience, and you want to listen to me, that's down to you. If you don't want to listen to me, go ahead. It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah. These are just our opinions on it, on the tools that we come across and we work with, and mine's a little bit different than yours. Yours is a little bit different than hers and his and all that. And I have different reasons. I got hand problems. There's all different kinds of things. And some things rub us the wrong way and some things don't. And don't take it in an opinion to such that you dislike a person over a tool opinion. I don't want to see that.
Yeah. And I think that's something that I am going to get onto later, because this company especially, I see a lot of people in the community that are massive fans of Covert Instruments. And when people share opinions about them that they don't agree with, they start to attack them personally, or they try to do backhanded, snide comments to attempt to poison the well and make them seem unreliable for their opinions. But I'll get onto that later.
Yeah.
So we'll start how we normally start, and we'll go on to tool quality. If you're happy to go on to tool quality.
I'm happy to go on to tool quality.
Out of all the Covert Instrument tools that you've used and owned, how comfortable are you going at them with not so much destructive force, but really putting some force into them, testing them out, putting them in some really difficult keyways? How much trust do you have in the ruggedness of these tools?
I think they're pretty rugged. They have the 301 high yield steel or whatever. I'm not a metalsmith, but yeah, I've crammed them in there. I've beat the picks I've had from Covert Instruments. I've beat them to a pulp over the years. I mean, this was the first run of the Covert Companion, and I had it laser engraved years ago, but I mean, I've beat the crap out of these. I mean, look at my shims are, and I've had it since the first run, the first week it came out. I give them 100% on that, on
the
ruggedness of them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree. Even with the tiny little, I've got the Riz pick here,
Yeah.
and this really is a light, small, like it feels like nothing in your hands. There's nothing there. And
Yeah.
I've ragged on this. I've picked some very difficult keyways with this. I've gone a bit harder than I should with these picks because I want to test them out in a way where I can be fair to beginners, because I know beginners like to go extremely hard and bend their picks up. So when I'm testing these for review, I do go harder than I should. And it looks like they've barely been used.
Yeah.
There's no unfair bends in them. There's barely a scratch in them. So that is a very good point for Covert Instruments. Ruggedness, they're going to score very high in my books. Like you just said, very high in your books.
Yeah. Yeah, I give them 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. While we're on tool quality,
Yes.
a big member of the community has posted publicly on his YouTube profile. I'm not sure if he wants to be named, so I won't name him, but you can find this information publicly, so I'm happy to discuss it. He's had issues with quality control. So ordered a set of bump keys, and I think it was something like 66% of the bump keys that came were cut wrong. He messaged the company, Covert Instruments, and from what he said, so this is his word of mouth, they just said, well, all of our bump keys are cut manually, that's how it is, kind of thing. That left a bad taste in my mouth, because if I was doing something manually, if I was making something by hand, and I make picks by hand,
Yep.
I'm extra careful with the detail. If it was a machine, I could let it go, like, oh yeah, our keys are stamped out, so sometimes the machine gets it wrong, we'll replace them for you. That's a completely fair point. Saying, oh, they're all cut manually, well then that should have quality control built in. They should be
Yep.
checking their work. And if they're getting 66% of their cuts wrong, maybe that's not the right job for them.
Yeah. I have to agree with that. And I didn't even tell you about this story. When I got the first Covert Companion, all my picks had been laser cut out wrong, and even my hook that went with the Covert Companion, it was literally cut in half. It was just hanging there by a thread when I got it. And I messaged them, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's a problem. What's your address? We're sending you all new picks." So I got 2 sets of picks and everything, and I was like, "My address is that? All right, it's on the way."
Perfect.
So I never had that problem. That was the week you could order the first Covert Companion. To hear that's upsetting.
Yeah.
I don't like to hear that, because I think we're all in this community. It's an odd community that, the pickers, the owners of these pick companies and everything. We all talk. We all converse. We know each other. It isn't like any other community. So that's kind of a bummer if true. I'm just hearing it third hand from you, so hopefully they can get that taken care of and not have something like that. I don't like to hear that. We all have love for each other,
Yeah. And that's one of the good things about this community, is if a company is acting in a way that's not good, then it's a two-sided coin. It's bad that there's this sort of cult mentality within the community, but it's also good that word spreads so quickly of bad customer service and bad quality control. There's another famous company that used to be the go-to picks years ago. I won't mention their name in this episode, but people had big problems with the customer service from them, and that they're not popular in the community anymore. They still make some of the picks. I really like them, but people are not buying them because he doesn't act in a way that's good towards customers. But that's for a future episode.
Yeah. I have to agree. You're 100% right.
So carrying on with the quality, we've spoken about ruggedness and we've spoken about quality control. We've said a little bit on customer service. I'd like to move on, and I like to ask you about this. So you've had your hands on Apex picks and you've had your hands on their sandwich style picks. Tell me about the handles. Tell me what the sandwich style feels like to you, if there's any difference between their sandwich and other companies' sandwich, and tell me what you feel with their premium line of picks, how I think they're injection molded or they're plastic handles. Tell me how they feel compared to Jimmy Long's, compared to Peterson, compared to Moki.
Okay. A sandwich handle is a sandwich handle is a sandwich handle. To me, it just depends on the thickness, Like this other company, won't go into it, is a little bit thicker of a sandwich handle, and I like the feel of that, but their Covert is average with the sandwich handle. They're in line with all the rest. I don't see or feel any difference. As for their premium Apex set, the feel, the texture of it is similar to, I feel kind of like the Peterson, the texture of it. I'm assuming it's a 70-30 glass type, like similar to Jimmy Long's and whatever Peterson's is. I think that I had an Apex in my hand and I was like, it's the same length as all the rest. It isn't any longer. It's a little bit taller, I think. But what would I put? I wasn't excited about it. That the price of those and the exclusivity of the Apex set and its case and the just absolute bombardment. I was sick of hearing about it. I don't know what it is. It hasn't excited me. I'm going to have to get a set at some point, but to be honest, it's not even in my top 10 things I want to get in the next,
Okay.
I
want to push you a little further on the handles, just so I can get a gauge for myself and so we can give the audience a bit more of a gauge. So if we're putting, I know your favorite handles that you've tried, I hope I'm still right, are the Jimmy Longs. They're the ones which let you carry on picking. So we'll call them top tier, and we'll say the very bottom ones are wiper insert picks. If you were going to put them on a scale, so top 10, like 10 being Jimmy Longs and 1 being, what sort of scale would you put the Apex handles on?
Okay. I would go I would say the 10, 9, 8, 7 area is Jimmy Long's, Moki, because I do have some Moki picks now. Peterson, 6
Okay.
would be your Rytans.
Okay.
6 and 5 would be like just the Rytan handles. No, 5 would be the Rytan handles, and anything under that is just Amazon plastic handles. I would put Covert 6 and a quarter.
Okay. That's not a bad score, and I think we can come back to that. You said that you want to get your hands on them eventually, and I think once you've picked with them a bit and once you've used them a bit, I'll ask you in a future episode and see if we get an update.
Yeah, I felt that for their price, I think it's their price and all of that. Maybe it's not that price. I just felt that it wasn't. Yeah, they went to the plastic handles, but they didn't put any extra real effort into it. I didn't like the shape it was. I didn't know how it would feel after picking for a while. Where, like Jimmy's put real time in the curve in the thickness and how it tapers and things like that really makes a big difference, So to me, it was just a little bit different shaped. I couldn't get excited about it. Yeah, that's where it was, and I'm sure they're good and to pick with, and they'd be comfortable. Not as comfortable as like the Mokies and the Jimmy Longs, but yeah, I think they're where the pick companies and handles have come to. I don't think they they're just like, we're going to make plastic handles. All right, well, let's make them a little bit different than everybody else. Okay, well, let's just make them this shape. Okay, go, is what I got out of it. I haven't heard or seen or anything to make me be like, all right, the next pick set I'm going to get is the Apex because I've got to try them because of this, and this, and it's just not there for me. I'm not saying they're bad. They're the 301 hard steel. They're the plastic handles I like. They're a little short. They're about the average thickness. There's nothing real spectacular besides the fact that they made plastic handles.
I think you're absolutely right. I personally can't see a good design reason to make the plastic handles that shape. And it's slightly unfair on every other company that Jimmy Long's exists. And he's put out the reasoning behind his handle shapes, and he's got such good prices. But he does exist, and he is your competitor, and you have to put in the same effort. And Jimmy Long started from his garage, and he invested in all this equipment, and he's done everything for himself. So if Jimmy's can do it and do it so well and do it at such an affordable price, why is a big company like Covert Instruments charging way more and giving you a little less?
And I'd like to add to that a little bit of devil's advocate here, I guess. I heard somebody say, I was talking with somebody that, because I've really put some thought into this, this discussion. They said that Covert Instruments made those tools specifically for, your covert, your firemen, your police officers, your military, CIA, MI6, fucking, and it wasn't That's what it was meant for, priced for. I don't know if that makes a difference or anything, if I need to take that more into consideration, or if that is even true, but that's my devil's advocate there with it.
I think I see that with the Apex kit. I would expect if it was for military and covert sort of things, covert applications, firstly, they would be on government contracts with the sort of advertising that they do. It probably wouldn't be available to the public, not the kits that they have, because then that would be very bad OPSEC, because foreign bodies would be able to just come and look and see, oh, these are the kits that they have. And I would expect it to look a lot more like my locksmith kit, my basic locksmith kit, where it would be full of bypass tools and mainly rapid entry tools, because it's very rare in a military situation or a fire situation you're going to have to sit there and single pin pick something. Maybe spies do it, but I've been doing a lot of research in the past week or so, looking at spy museums and looking at the pick kits that are available to the public from the past. And firstly, there's not many examples. And secondly, it's what I'm saying. It's mainly bypass things. And when it is single pin picking things, they're not very well thought out. There's not a lot of effort into them, which leads me to believe they weren't used very much. It's usually going to be social engineering, key impressioning, and copying keys, things like that. The Apex kit, I think it would have another disadvantage for spies and government things in the fact that the case can't hold other tools. Why am I going to have this big chunk of a case that can only hold the tools that you dictate I can have? I personally don't see it being used for that application.
I have to jump on with you there too. I'm not excited about that case either. Yeah, it's magnetic and everything, but come on, we all use all different. I got my favorite Peterson. If I was when I put a case together to go out, it's my zip up Sparrows case with my Peterson 18 gem and my Jimmy Long's gems, and my Southern Specialties dog legs and my Covert Instrument.
Yeah, and I think we're all the same. I think we all have our favorite tools from different companies, and I like a company that is happy to accommodate other companies' tools because they know how lockpicking works and they know that you're going to use other tools. I think at least it was an oversight that it doesn't accommodate other tools, and I think at most they've done it on purpose so that if you like their case, you're stuck using their tools, and you either have to different evos or deal with it. It doesn't accommodate versatility and variation in different tastes for other pickers, but it is, and it's nice looking, and it feels good.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. The fact that it doesn't stay open would drive me completely out of my mind. But yeah, that's a fair assessment.
And I think we've gone off on a tangent a little bit, talking about quality to going on to the cases, but it's important. Like the shape of the handles on the Apex kit is what is accommodated by their case. They go, because these cases that they have, the fabric Kajor or whatever they are, the ripstop, I don't know what it is. these sort of canvasy style cases, they have a lot of design put behind them. Like they stand up, I can see my picks displayed. They accommodate a fair amount of other picks. They've got a magnet on it. They've got places for cards. Like they're it's a well-designed case. And then I come to their premium picks, and I've got a case that's not as versatile, let's call it. It's a very limited case.
Yeah. And I wasn't a big fan of those cases. I only got the McNally, the Reaper set. I had that, and I had given it away as a gift to a friend. But I couldn't fit as much, and where I wanted, I need that case. I need that particular case right there, because I always felt like if it's rocking around in my pocket, I would always put it in my coat pocket, that the tensioners and the picks would fall out the side,
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like, I'd be riding my bike, I'd have it in my inside pocket, and I'd hit a big bump or something. I'd be like, I wonder if they fell out in my pocket, so I was always worried about that. I do love the fact that you can put the patches on it. I love the patches and the Velcro stuff. That was cool, and the design of it was cool. I'll get me at least the patch again. I'd like that particular case to try out. Maybe that one's got a little more stretch, or I didn't keep it long enough to get it stretched out to where it felt, but I just thought it would fall out the sides is what I'm getting at.
I'm going to move on to another point, another topic that I believe Covert Instruments actually does well. And let's talk about set designs. So with the pick profiles in their sets, are they choosing the most efficient profiles that work well with each other? Or are they throwing in a load of junk that just to build up numbers? So with set designs, and I'll take the lead on this one for the start. I know this is my main Covert Instruments kit that I've got, and it's the Echelon set. It's made to complement the Genesis, the FNG, that sort of thing. However, as a standalone kit, it's a decent kit. It's got 3 pin tumbler rakes, and they're all different styles of wave. So you've got double peak, and then you've got 2 different wave styles, which are the common popular rakes at the moment. Then it's got standard sort of hook here, slightly deeper, and then it's got a nice sort of reach there. And then obviously it's got some various other tools, dimple rake, tubular and tensioner. As a standalone set, I could recommend that to anyone. That's a decent set. There are people out there who enjoy raking, and they're allowed to enjoy raking. So having 3 decent rakes in a set is not a negative against the company.
Nope.
As long as they are decent rakes and not just filler profiles.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I'm glad we're talking about this, because this Covert Instruments and Lockpicking Lawyer and McNally and whoever else they got with them, they don't put fucking fluff in there that burns my ass with the fluff shit. There's one pick in particular that burns my ass with Covert Instruments, but it's with other pick companies too that use it. We'll get into that later. But yeah, every set I look at in here, I'm like, I can't argue that, There isn't a 2 stupid piece of crap city rakes and then the double bump weird hook thing and 5 of them, because you need 5 different double peaked hook under toe, hook nail. No, and their tensioners, they don't just grab a handful of wiper blade inserts, bend them, and throw them in there and be like, here's 12. You get 12. No, they thought out to the picks that they put in the set. It's all put together very well thought out. And that's one of my biggest, with Covert Instruments is they're spot on.
Moving on to something maybe not so good, I want to talk about categories of instruments make. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, this is all opinions. These are my opinions, and this is just how I see and what I feel about them.
Yep, and me too.
I believe with Covert Instruments, there's two categories of things they make. They make the bare basics that everybody else makes. They make the same profiles everybody else makes. They have the same standard sandwich handles that everybody else has. Or even their premium picks, they're a crazy price, but they're the same premium plastic handle picks everybody else makes, with a couple of exceptions. Maybe the McTickler might be really innovative for you, or it might be similar to profiles that you've seen in the past. But generally, that's the first category, is the basics that everybody else makes. And the second category, in my opinion, is gimmicks and trends that they push through their brand affiliates and through other means. And they're very good at marketing. They have very good partners. They have very cool gimmicky products. And I'm saying they're gimmicks. I enjoy gimmicks. You should see some of the Sparrows stuff I have. I like gimmicks, but you have to see them for what they are. They are gimmicks.
Yeah.
And if anybody's been into fishing before, they say fishing lures are not made to catch fish. They're made to catch fishermen. And Covert Instruments does that with their gimmicks. They're made to pick lock, and they do work, but they're made for the lock picker to pick them.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
100%. Though this gimmick is very versatile and very pickable and usable, and I love it. So
yeah,
I really love it.
I've said it in the past. Like, there's nothing wrong with having fun with your hobby and Locksport. Not everything is super serious. For example, I've got the Sparrows. Is it the Vegas set? I think it's called. It was a collab with a custom pick maker. It's not super serious. The profiles on them are not made to get into every lock, but they're fun. They sit on my desk and they're a showpiece. There's nothing wrong with that. Covert Instruments has taken that one step further. They've seen how people like fidget toys, and they've made fidget toys. And they've made fidget toys that pick locks.
Yeah, and my whole shelf.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but you have to see it for what it is.
Yeah.
And you have to see the company for what it is doing. On that note, the Covert Companion Pro. That is a gimmick. That's a very expensive gimmick. It's been pushed and pushed and pushed. They've sent, I believe they've sent free samples to big YouTubers. Obviously, all their affiliates are pushing them. If you go to any of their affiliates' YouTube now, check their past, 10, 20 videos and see how many of them are the Covert Companion Pro. But if you look at the tool, like actually take a look from your knowledge and your experience and see what is on it, it's a set of bypass tools and a substandard pick. It's a mini jackknife, which it looks like a brilliant mini jackknife. And like I said, it's the gimmick. Gimmicks are fun to have, but it's a set of bypass tools, a substandard pick, and it's $150 plus shipping.
I want to say something. I'm struggling with it too, man. And I had all the Covert Companion stuff. I struggled with trying to pick with that. Let me put this out there. I know Lockpicking Lawyer doesn't listen to us or any of those guys, but if the pro was the ultimate goal, why don't you just go with the pro instead of making us suffer with the floppy picks on this, because it drove me nuts. And then you stepped it up to the like Riz and Shim. I like these for what they are. These, not so much this, the Riz pick and the top of the keyway thing, but all the rest is just bypass tools and stuff, and made for firemen, stuff like that, and to throw in your pocket and go. And if something's happening, yeah, it's great. It's a little gimmicky on just because it is what it is, but it was within a realm of reasonable price range. I'm a huge folding pick, pocket pick person. I want to get them all, and I will at some point one day. I had quite a few. I've gotten quite a few back. With that being said, there's two I'm really struggling with, and one of them I really want. But the Covert Pro is not something that's, like I said with the Apex, it's not top of my priority of the ones I want to get, because it's just too expensive. And
yeah,
I'd like to get my hands on one and feel it. If one of you guys out there want to send one over here for me to just hold on and mess with for a couple days, just to, I know the quality's there. Covert has the quality and things like that, but man, $150.
I have the Dangerfield Skeleton EDC with the whole expansion, so there's a load of picks there.
Yeah,
a load of top of the keyway tensioners. It's got it's got shims, bypass knives. It's got everything in there. And this was £60 with all of that. And I think that's ruined other jackknives for me, because it's just not only good value, it's such high quality. It feels great in the hand. If you lock it down with a reasonable amount of force, it stays locked. It's just a lovely, lovely tool.
I need one of those. I had one before, but I didn't get to mess with it too much because I just got it and then my life fell apart. But yeah, that's an important one. And so is the Southern Specialties one. This is made fast up my chain because of how well it is, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah,
that actually brings me on to something about the Covert Companion Pro. We were actually having a conversation about this a couple of days ago, and I said warded picks in the UK are very rare. You ever need to use them. You said you get them on every icebox everywhere, which is fair enough. But with the Southern Specialties jackknife, when I go on to buy it, they let me select exactly what I want on that jackknife.
Bingo.
If the Covert Companion Pro was $150, what I would expect is, firstly, they'd let me choose what tools I want on it, where I want the tools on it. Second thing I would expect is interchangeable scales, because it's a gimmick and I want to have fun with it. I want to put stupid digital camo scales on it. I want to put snakeskin scales on it. I want to put titanium scales on it. I want them to be interchangeable, personalizable, and have fun. And yeah, I think they could do a lot of things which add value without adding too much cost for themselves.
Yeah, that's you really hit it spot on there. And what would you have put there in place of them?
Yeah, I think that is an interesting question. Because it has got a lot on it that I would use. It's just the space that's there that's wasted by those for me. I think I might have a couple of fast access. So I would have a half diamond and a couple of rakes, which I could access from the pick itself rather than having to get out the mini jackknife to use. Because if I'm using a rake, I don't necessarily need it to be removable from the tool. So I could just have a couple of rakes on there, maybe a bypass, another bypass knife. I could have one sharp, one blunt for different uses. A thumb turn bypass, and I'm not sure how common those are in the US, but over here we have these thumb turn Euros and ovals, and a large percentage of them. So you know the American bypass driver, it's similar to that. You can just shove it straight into the back of one of these and bypass the whole lock, and it will just turn the thumb turn from the inside. I'll definitely have one of those on there. And I would just like it so I could choose the different tools I put on there.
Yep. You hit the nail on the head there, because you're right. You needed to be able to choose and change, and if you're wanting that price, and yes, I'm not saying the quality's not there for a premium price. I'm saying the versatility and the needs and wants of the individual buying it need to be there to get that kind of price for it.
And while we're on this topic, I would like to say something in defense of Covert Instruments quickly. And I've seen a couple of times, so if you're watching this and you have said this, you're not alone, but I've seen them accused of something called astroturfing a couple of times, which it's a type of advertising that big companies do where they make it look like it's independent buyers and customers reviewing them. So they go onto like Reddit and they get, oh, look, my Covert Companion Pro is turned up. It's really good. And it's actually the company sponsoring it. I don't believe that Covert Instruments has done this. What I believe has happened is everybody ordered the Covert Companion Pro on the first or second day it was released. They all turned up around the same time, and everybody was so excited to get it that they posted about it on Discord and Reddit. And they really were their customers. And I really don't think, especially with the Lockpicking Lawyer heading it up, I don't think that the type of thing they would do would be astroturfing. So from my point of view, I don't think they've done that.
I don't either. I think you're right 100% there. Because Covert Instruments, and they're the trend. And when you're the trend, I mean, their supplies get wiped out instantly within minutes. You can't accuse them of that when they're sold out in minutes of everything, just like Jimmy Long's, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second. I don't think they play that type of business. I agree.
And now let's flip to the complete opposite side, and I would like to say how I see their marketing practice. So we've moved on from set designs and things like that now, and
Yep.
I want to talk about the actual company and the way that they act and the way that they advertise. And you were absolutely right when you said they are the trend. They are what is in fashion right now. The McTickler has hit the lockpicking world like a freight train.
Yep.
Everybody's loving on that. Everybody's loving on the Apex. Everybody's loving on the Covert Companion Pro. And I think they're very good at playing the market. I don't think they're immoral with it, but some people, when they become part of the Covert Instruments cult, they act in ways that I don't agree with. I'm not necessarily talking about any brand affiliates or anything like that, or anyone in particular, but I have seen if somebody speaks out and gives a bad opinion about Covert Instruments, I've seen people try to poison the well, which is, if you probably know what that means, but if you don't know what that means, it's saying negative things about the person or trying to point something out so you disregard their opinion without looking into what they actually say. So someone posted a negative opinion about the Covert Companion Pro. Wasn't necessarily exactly completely negative, but they posted their opinion, which wasn't, I absolutely love it. And the reaction that they got was, oh, this person likes this brand, so obviously they're going to tell you not to like Covert Instruments. And I don't see it that way. If someone gives their opinion, whether they're from another brand or not, fight the opinion, argue the opinion. Don't try to attack the person.
Yeah.
And that this isn't Covert Instruments doing this, but it's people that have fallen into this cult-like behavior of Covert Instruments is the best. Lockpicking, I need this lockpicking lawyer statue on my desk to bless my picking. And it's just another company. It just wants to make money from you. And you shouldn't treat it like some sort of deity. And you're allowed to criticize it. And you're allowed to let other people criticize it without being personally offended by it.
Yeah. Or attacked by it or looked down upon. Because I know this is going to be a controversial show we put on here, because we're not bowing down, and we're saying what we feel and how we feel, and some of it isn't all that great, but there is quite a bit that's good, just like with every other one. But we're gonna get some hate. We're gonna get bad messages on it. People are gonna talk even more than what we said with Sparrows, which was, some's good, some's bad, some's good here, some's bad. But this one will cut deeper than any other, I promise. Yeah.
And going from that, I'd like to bounce on to a point that you mentioned earlier, and I think you made a very good point with this. So we're moving on to category price. And you was telling me about the price of an individual pick from Covert Instruments and the price of an individual pick from Sparrows.
Yep. I went through and I really wanted to dig deep because I know we're going to get hate. I know we're going to get people who jump on board and want us to be like, yeah, fuck those guys. Or, fuck you guys for saying something bad about my daddy, whatever. But so I really dug deep into this and I really enjoyed this, just like I did the Sparrows. But the price difference between an individual pick from Sparrows and an individual pick from Covert Instruments, not talking about handles or anything else, just the individual picks across the board was it 10 or 9 cents?
Huh?
10.
So they're within the same. They're within the same price range. They're very, very close.
Well within. Yeah.
Okay. So we said a lot of good things about sparrows that we didn't expect to say.
Yeah.
But now we have to put the heat on them a little bit because they're providing bare-handled picks.
Yep.
Or not 301 high yield, or the other, is it the 1095 is the other top tier steel. So they're not providing any of the two top tier steels. Bare handled for the same price. You're getting 301 high yield. This is with a sandwich handle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you're going to buy single picks and they both have the same profile that you're looking for, I would go for the 301 high yield.
Yep. And it's 10 cents. 10 cents. I mean, I believe it's actually 9. I wrote it down and lost it because I'm a spaz, but 10 cents. Now, the difference between you take the Sparrows and the Covert Instruments, they're right there with all the other good companies. And then you got the other companies that are like, they're 75 cents to $1.10 different or more. And you're like, what is going on? So Covert Instruments is right there. They're bringing you top of the line quality steel sandwiched handles for, to be honest, I don't know how they make money on that. If Sparrows is selling their subpar without a sandwich handle for 10 cents less, I can't process that in my head.
Yeah, and the only defense that I would say for Sparrows, and I don't know why this is, maybe because I've used them slightly longer, when I have the Covert Instruments and the Sparrows inside of a lock, I get a better feel from the Sparrows. And it's nothing to do with the handles. They're both subpar handles, to be honest. I don't like sandwich handles, and I don't like the weird rubber stuff that I get with Sparrows either. But there's just something about the way that the Sparrows glides over the pins that just feels nicer to me than the Covert Instruments. But like I said, yeah. I would buy the Covert Instruments because I know it's going to be more rugged and it's going to last longer because it's made of a superior steel.
Yep. And you brought that up, and it made me think about it when you said that the other day when we talked about this a little bit. The Sparrows is a softer metal and can be tumbled, and it's polished a lot better and shaped to where it's really smooth and groove in quite a bit less at a time because it's a softer metal. Where you got Covert with that, it's going to take longer. And if they do it for the same amount of time, you get, which Covert isn't bad. I'm not saying they're tumbling or it's top notch for the steel, because it's not as soft. It isn't as smooth and glidey.
Yeah.
It is my opinion.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being, and I've noticed that when you look at the Covert Instruments as well, they don't seem to have the same effort put into the tumbled finish. You can see like lines and marks on the actual picks. So I think maybe there is less time or a inferior process put into them, especially when you start getting to things like the Riz pick. If you look at the picks on that, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to get the angle, but they're definitely nowhere near as polished.
Oh, nowhere near.
And they're usable. They're definitely usable. I'm not saying they're not, but you're probably right with what you're saying. And Sparrows just feels better because they either have a better process, tumble them for longer, or the steel is more susceptible to the tumbling and polishing.
Mm-hmm.
And that all that means is if you buy the superior steel, then you might have to just put a couple of minutes into it with some sandpaper.
Yeah.
Which you should be used to if you're getting into the lockpicking community anyway, because you're going to have to do that a lot.
Yeah.
So I think, so we've covered price, we've covered quality, we've covered the company, we've covered the set designs, the ruggedness. Is there anything else you'd like to say about Covert Instruments specifically before we get on to ranking them in the tier list?
Yes. I'd like to say I don't have any bad feelings towards Covert. None of what I'm saying is in bad feelings towards them or their picks or quality or anything like that. I just I don't know. The Pro rubbed me the wrong way, and what was the other thing we were talking about? The Pro and the that was super expensive.
Apex?
Yeah, and the Apex. I wish they would have put a little more effort and thought and I'm not saying that they didn't, but to make it for the Apex, put more thought into the handles and don't put yourself in a tier by yourself because you're going to end up by yourself in the end. Keep it all together where we can all work together, have our picks and cases together, and have real thought into the handles like Jimmy and go from there. That's I guess what I got to say. And Lockpicking Lawyer, man, I miss your good videos before you started Covert Instruments. I've kind of stopped watching your videos because it just, and that's another thing I did want to say was with Lockpicking Lawyer, it just turned into a commercial for Covert Instruments where I learned a lot from him over the years, and I really enjoyed his in-depth videos, and I was just mesmerized by him. And now it's just like, all right, you can get the Covert Instruments pick I'm using to pick this lock, and you click on 1, 2, 3, and 4, and yeah, it came from over here, and in fact, that's where we get the steel for the Covert Companion, and then man, we all know you got a company. Get back to what you used to do and really teach us and show us all the interesting, fascinating things that your mind is just filled with that just kept me in awe. And I know you make great picks and you have a great company and great people affiliated with you, and I miss the old Lockpicking Lawyer. That's my in the end, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, and I agree, and I've heard a lot of people agree with that as well. It does feel like an infomercial most times he uploads a new video. I still watch them every now and again if it's an interesting topic, but it does bother me a little bit every time. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, you get these from over at my website, Covert Instruments. Like, okay, we get it now. I understand why he does it, because underneath most of his old videos, people are asking where you can get all this kit. Obviously, he wants them to buy his company's equipment, and there's nothing wrong with that. But maybe just put like a little, I don't know, edit a little bit at the top or at the start of the video or the end of the video that says, by the way, you can get all this equipment from here, but still upload the interesting videos that you used to upload.
Yeah.
But I understand why he does it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I do too. And I just don't like it either, because he captivated me with, he knew every inch of everything and in depth into when whatever company began, and and that's what I watched his videos for. I know he makes picks.
Yeah.
I like picks. I like his stuff. Teach me stuff that you used to teach me again, and I won't beat a dead horse.
So now if we go on to ranking, so the ranking system that we have, we do S tier, which is the super top of the top, and then we've got A, which is very, very good, B, which is good, C, which is mid tier, D, which is lower than mid tier, and then we've got E, which is very low, and F, which is stay the hell away from this company. I think I'd like you to rank how you see it first.
Damn it.
And this time, I already know that we differ with our opinions on this one, and we're going to have to come up with a compromise. But let's see what you say first.
Fuck. Yeah. Throw me under a bus here. I'm going to have to go with my feelings on a couple of the Apex and the Pro. Just I'm just not, that bums me out. And their other pick, which I hate, and I hate at any company promotes that goddamn American bypass tool. Damn it, American locks haven't had empty without the shielding in it since the 80s or 90s. There isn't one out there that you're going to go out and get with the bypass. Quit trying to sell it to suckers. That rubs me the wrong way. It pisses me off. And shame on you, Covert and Sparrows. And I think, I don't want to say other companies that I don't know for sure. Say, shame on you. Quit selling that shit. It's ridiculous. It pisses me off. But fuck. They're okay. You got A, almost S, middle A. It's just an A.
Okay. Just about an A. Okay. I can see that. To me, from what I felt, what I've seen, they are a mid-tier pick company. They do some things really well. They do some things not so well. Choosing to buy a new set of picks purely because of their steel, they only just outrank Sparrows, but only just. There's not much in it for me. It's like I said, it's just the steel, which is, it's just pushing it up there a little bit. And a couple of their simpler designs as well, like the Riz pick and the Riv pick. These are brilliant, tiny little profile, chuck in your bag, you can put this on a zip and you would barely even notice it. You can put this in your wallet. I've seen people mount it to the middle of their wallets. that's an excellent design. And it's normally their simpler designs which are really like bumping them up for me. I think we put sparrows at C tier, if I remember correctly. If not, I'll correct it in editing. I'll show the show on screen. I would put them just slightly above sparrows, and they do deserve better than that. I'll put them a step above sparrows, and I'll do that for they've got more thought in their set designs, and they've got better steel. So I'd put them B tier, mid B tier, but they're still just a mid company for me.
Wow. Yeah.
And then if we mix both of our opinions on that, so you put them bottom of A, I put them mid B, we'll give them a B plus. And the Broken Rune rating for that, for Covert Instruments, will be B plus.
I can stand behind that.
Yeah. So I think this is a good time to bring up our new segment, which is Anonymous Unpopular Opinions. And we decided
an hour of that.
We decided to do this segment because we have seen that a lot of people have a lot of opinions which are perfectly valid, but they won't discuss them in public because they get jumped on by the cult. And they get jumped on by a lot of people that think in the same way, and they haven't opened their mind that Locksport is more than just what they think. And we think it's fair to keep everyone anonymous, but we will discuss their opinions. And if me and you both disagree with them or both agree with them, one of us will play devil's advocate. And we'll argue for them or against them, depending on what we agree. And I think one that we've discussed just before the show, which I think will be brilliant to start off with, you said you had at least three people contact you in relevance to our last show, saying that Sparrows is still an awful company.
Yep. I had three that said
LPU belt system is more flawed than you think. If your first ever set was 301 high yield, then you're already privileged.
Sparrow's picks are still shit. I don't care.
There are black belts that don't deserve green belt.
As always, it was a great time. I love our discussions. I love our points of view. I love when we differ. I love when we are the same. I love hanging out with all you guys and all you fans and all you friends and family. And you guys are all very important to me. And I wish all good things for you and everybody.